The very last stop on the digital transformation. Amen. So we've got a little bit of writing to do. We've got 30 minutes. I don't know how long those guys went over, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be respectful of your time because I know you don't start eating till late in the evening. Holy shit. You're the only country I know you can't get a table before 8 o'clock. You drink till 2 and you turn up at work at 8 a.m. in the morning. I have no idea how you do it. You can switch between Spanish and English on a drop of a dime. It's phenomenal. But I do want to thank the team for having me here, particularly Alberto, and I want to thank Lewis for this particular opportunity to spend time with you. And I want you to know who quote is that. Does anybody know whose quote that is? Computers are useless. They only give you answers. Amen, dude. That is Pablo Picasso. And what I love about that is it really sort of sets up for me the reality of where we're at. Because here's the deal, man. The most abused word in our industry, you've probably heard it 1,000 times in the last 3 days, is innovation. I think innovation is out. I think it's all about invention. Why? Look, here's the difference, man. Innovation is about change. Invention is about create. And that's what we need to do. Because look, here's the deal. There are 3 things I give a shit about. It's culture, it's code, and it's creativity. So given that's the case, we're going to sort of go on a quick journey. Let's talk about culture. Who in this audience had one of these as a kid? Quick show of hands, please. Shit, all of us. Anybody not know what that is? It's got a cassette player. Imagine being a brand called Walkman, having your ass kicked by iPod. Amazing. They were all about culture. They forgot about digital. But when you go too far the other way, you end up with this, Google Glass. Now, if you don't want to have any friends at dinner tonight, wear these. You'll have I guarantee nobody's going to want to talk to you. Now, we love Google. I love Google, don't get me wrong. But this is a good example of getting it wrong. This is not the right culture that people want. People don't want a surveillance culture. They want fun. They want culture that stays local. It's not about a global world. It's actually about local culture, I think. Here's a good example. I travel a lot. In Ghana, that's a popular brand of cola. P. They wonder why it's not going to be global. I'll tell you why. Nobody wants to drink that at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, bro. But this is what's amazing for me, guys. The official word that was entered in the Oxford Dictionary of 2015, forget 16, that was a boring year. But in 2015, the word that was entered in the Oxford Dictionary was not a word. It was a tear of joy emoji. We've transcended language and now we're about pictures. We've transgressed back to being kids. I love that. Because here's the deal, man. The other word that's overused is not innovation. The most overused word in our industry, disruption. And people are like, oh, I need to disrupt you. I don't know how you say it in Spanish. My Spanish, the only word I know is hola. And that's my English. Are we good? How's the speed? Am I going too fast? We're okay? Because I've got a shitload of things to talk about, so I've got to keep going. All right, here's the deal, man. Disruption. How do you say this in Spanish? Yeah? Oh, disruption. Close. But here's the deal. Here's what happens, man. When people say, hey, I want to disrupt, I'm like, awesome, how are we going to do that? They use technology. Like, oh my God, it's not that. It's your business that sucks. Our job is to disrupt the business. The tool is technology. Because look, man, at the end of the day, I think there's a couple of things that is totally universal. And it's this. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Whose quote is this? We're all friends here. This is a small room now. I love this. It's Einstein. So not only was he an incredible scientist, yes, he discovered the quantum theory. He didn't invent it. That's God. But what I love about this is that he also was a classically trained violinist. Concert level. Like Yo-Yo Ma, dude. And what I love about that is that it's interesting that we're now in the business of art and science. So I don't care what you do in this room, you're both an artist and a scientist. And you can target people psychographically according to Harvard. Actualizers, makers, achievers, believers, but that's not what we care about. Maybe we care more about Maslow, the school of hierarchy. This needs to be updated. The only thing that needs to be updated at the bottom is high-speed internet. Then I think we're good. But here's the deal. Technology is changing our behavior. What it's not changing is our need. Our needs are rooted in our DNA as humans. Yay! Because there are some things that can never be replaced, like the human touch. If nothing else, guys, I'll give you this before you head out the door. And here's what's fascinating. Understanding the need of humans, that's the job. Understanding the needs of humans. And then people say, well, hey dude, show me how we're connecting with them. Well, look, the reality is, I don't know if this is the guy we're connecting with. He's no friend of mine. Check him out. Awesome. If nothing else, I also give you this. But what I do know, brothers and sisters, is one of those ways that we think we're going to connect with virtually. Now, a bunch of you have probably tried this on. Actually, how many of you have tried on virtual reality goggles? Awesome, thank you. How many of you own them personally? You do? Young lady, what do you own? What are they? What brand? You know I only have 5 minutes here, so I'm just kidding. Your husband works for a VR company? You don't count. What brand are they? Samsung Gear. Yes, and you still need a $700 phone to make it work. When you have them on, how long do you wear them on? How long do they on your face for? Can you translate that question for me?
That's 3 minutes. Because
3 minutes at a time. Exactly. Thank you. Here's what happens. So I ask people, have you tried VR? Oop, hundreds of hands go up. Have you owned them personally? Oop, very rarely do I have somebody put their hands up. And when they do, they wear them for 5 minutes at a time. Now at AOL, who I work for, we invested heavily in a VR company because we believe content is going to drive the need for it. Why? Because when you've got those on, you don't give a shit who's around you, man. The experience is phenomenal. But here's the reality. Today, if you and I go and watch a film, if you laugh and I cry, nothing changes. It's a director's point of view. But what happens though, in the future of VR, is that you will be the director of your own content. You'll be able to choose your own adventures. And that's where we're headed, guys, a multilateral experience. And that's where brands are going to come to life. But until then, you've also got things like this. You've got AR. AR is great. It's inexpensive, it's fast, and it's purely beautiful. Look at this thing. There's a young lady trying on makeup. It's highly shareable content, unlike VR. But the other thing you need to think about is, where is VR headed? So if I go to China, they're developing technology like this that is bringing the physical experience to life with dedicated hardware, not smartphones. You're going to have dedicated hardware for AR. But sometimes I prefer reality. Check this out.
This is the Jaguar F-Type simulator. It's just sitting on a 6-axis hydraulic platform here. Rolling around, lift up, down. Once you're wearing this helmet, that's really going to simulate exactly what it's going to be like on the track.
Very good.
Make sure you brace yourself. Good luck.
Okay, Glenn, I'm about to start the ride.
Welcome to Jaguar Virtual Simulator. Are you ready to experience the power of a Jaguar F-Type?
Look, the reality is, you know what happens next, she shits herself. But the reality is, sometimes your actual brand experience is better than any digital experience. But one of those other ways people want to connect is IoT, the Internet of Things. There's a room of it out there. There's thousands of companies dealing in this space. Why? One, it's a $19 trillion marketplace according to Cisco. And that's by 2025. And it's not the Internet of Things, man. It's the Internet of Everything. There are going to be 34 billion independent devices in this category. And they're beautiful, they're artful, they're smart. They're everywhere. This is a product called Hello. You clip it to your pillow, it monitors your sleeping patterns. But it can distinguish the difference between a dog and a car alarm, so you can do something about the data. Imagine that. Do something about the data. Great. And you've got this, Pacify. It monitors children sucking on a pacifier. It will tell you when they're starting to teeth. You've got this, Flick, out of the Nordics. These are little tiny buttons that actually do certain things you used to do on your phone. So you may have to think about your brand, not just orally, you may have to think about your brand invisibly when there is no screen, because little buttons like this are starting to become the shortcut language of where we're headed. Okay, what about this? RFID. So this is a temporary tattoo that lasts about 2 weeks. It's RFID keyboard. So on your body, you can now control things where you normally would need a screen. So there's that sort of technology coming at you. And then we have wearables. Now everybody loves wearables, but I believe it's trying to find a home. Because, well, let's do this. Is anybody wearing a wearable? Does anybody have one on? Can I ask what you have on, sir? Fitbit? You've got Garmin, okay. Garmin, what have you got? Did you put your hand up? Did you put your hand up? Anybody else put their hand up? What have you got? You got a Me Fit? You don't have a wearable, young lady? Does anybody have one at home? So normally what happens is that more hands go up. So this is what happens, guys. There are two things. We're saying, well, wearables are going to be incredible. Yes, they are. But they basically do what your phone does today. And given that challenge, you don't wear them. Nobody gives a shit if you walk 10,000 steps, by the way. So it's trying to figure out what it wants to be. And where I think it's interesting is they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but they're actually still trying to find out its purpose. This is probably the most unique wearable that your phone can't do. This wearable will shock you if you do something you said you're not going to do. So reaching for that third beer last night, this probably would have been the tool to use. But where I find it fascinating is there's 290 different wearables in the #1 category of fitness. But when I meet with Garmin, when I meet with Jawbone, when I meet with Fitbit, none of them say they're in the fitness business or the health business. They say they're in the data business. So they compete with AOL, Google, Facebook. And it's fascinating because they're all over our bodies. They're not just on our wrist or our face. They're everywhere, including our cats and dogs. Like this.
Have you ever noticed that the world's most powerful men don't carry a wallet? In fact, have you ever seen them pay for anything? Well, now you can join them. Introducing the MJ Bale Power Suit. In collaboration with Heritage Bank and Visa PayWave, we've developed the technology to embed a contactless payment chip and antenna into the sleeve of a suit. So now you can pay invisibly wherever you go.
How crazy is that? And check this out.
And is that right? If a player is tackled, then you get to feel the physical effect of that. But if a player is nervous before a kick, then you get the fluttering, you get that kind of sensory experience.
In your living room, you no longer have to go to Disneyland to experience 5D. You can be sitting in your living room to feel like what it's like to be a footballer. And this is not brought to you by a technology company, brothers and sisters. This is brought to you by a media company. It's incredible the lengths that these companies are going to. And this is probably the weirdest thing I've seen in quite some time in the wearable space. This is a 3D dress that will morph and change based on the way the person's looking at you and your body reaction to want to attract or distract them. I don't think it makes that rattlesnake sound, but I could use this in New York. There's a lot of creeps in the subway. However, everything today has built-in intelligence. The challenge for you is if the wearable web takes off, if more screen-based technology that isn't your phone is something that people are going to use and consume, you have to think about the wearable web, because we started out really understanding that it was cinema, and then it was television, and then it was, you're told to have to market on that, and then you're told to market on that. So good luck. And you're asking yourself, so what? Good question. You are in the business, I believe, of this. Sight, sound, and motion. To do what? Create emotion. Why? 75% of purchase decisions today are made emotionally. It means we sell to the heart to justify to the head. And the reality is this, guys. If you have a marketing degree, in any way this is transported into Spanish, there are 4 P's that they teach you. Product, price, placement, promotion. This shit does not work. This was invented in 1948. I do believe our business culture has been updated though, to pedigree, partnership, platforms, and performance. And life has changed. If you've been wondering about my accent, I'm from Australia. I'm also from this little tiny town. I'm also grown up in that house, and this is my family. I'm one of 10 children. That's 12 people in a 2-bedroom house. I have lots of therapy we could talk about at drinks. Chinese Catholics, we are unstoppable. But at 17, that's when I had freedom, independence, and self-expression. At 17, because that's when I bought my first car. But today, children are born connected. 37% of children under the age of 2 can operate the swiping device better than the parent. But when you give them analog, they think it's broken. Yeah, cool, huh? Kids. We can watch that for 20 minutes, but here's the deal. It's no longer about consumers consuming content. Those days are well over. It's about the creator, the critic, and the curator of experiences. Welcome to the Slash Gen. These guys. The one person who believes they're a blogger, videographer, a fashionista, a DJ, an amplifier, an ambassador, an influencer, all wrapped up in the same person that if you give them permission, will take your brand with, like this. Okay, so you're sitting there going, I'm sorry, what is he showing me? I'm showing a young lady who was on news, and DJ Michelle, 22 years old, took this thing and remixed it into this phenomenal sensation that basically crashed the internet and could have been brought to you by M&M's before this came out. This came out. Remember this?
Damn, Daniel. Daniel, back at it again with the white band.
Now, you probably didn't see this though. So the first version was a massive sensation. And then this came out. Now, LG decided in their wisdom, with their new camera phone, to give it to Daniel and his friends and come up with a new version of that sensational hit. So what you end up with is something that's very inauthentic, something that didn't land, something that's really quite ridiculous. So always remember to stay true to the brand and try and stay true to the way content should be produced, not this rubbish. But some people say to me, look, Shingy, it's not just young people that can produce content, old people can too, man. Bullshit, because this turned up. So this is Joe Griffith. This is a guy who went to Vegas for a week on holiday. He filmed his entire vacation with his wife. He just forgot to turn the GoPro around.
Reflection of Bentanian, isn't it? I'm not sure.
And you end up with this sensational piece of content. Welcome to the new world. Welcome to the new world of unscripted content, guys. The audience that you now have its own audience. The challenge I have for brands is that when you hit the publish button on content, the life of the content typically dies. The idea is that you should be publishing content that when you hit publish, it starts. And that's a paradigm that's different. Because what you're competing against is this. You're competing against personal expression as a new form of entertainment. You know, there are extreme selfies out there. There are more kids dying from extreme selfies and shark attacks. That's the second tallest building in Hong Kong, by the way. So, is this generation of young adults a thrower? Everybody wants to target young adults anyway. No, they're not a thrower. It turns out they're very social. They're very we, not me. Why? If you look at this, it's fascinating to see where the energy of this is headed. Because, look, you can buy into the open social web today. But I think the interconnected network of humans is closing down to be closed. What do I mean by that? Who in this room is on Instagram? Can I just have a quick show of hands, please? Thank you. Keep your hand up if it's set to private. Okay, so a bunch of us. But if I do that for mainly women, by the way, and there's a reason for that, because there's a surge of insecurity that happened around the open social network. So people are closing their network down. If I speak to high school kids, who's on Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, WeChat, boom, 100% of the hands go up. Who's is set to private? 100% of the hands stay up. So today, it is about open social, but in the future it's about closed, interconnected networks of trust. It's different than where we've been. And this is one of the best ones. It's a massive anxiety attack for me. I sent out a message, I'm like, please God, respond. Somebody respond to me, man, quickly. And this is a closed network. And look, here's what's amazing. If you go to places like China, they're using WeChat. And in WeChat, Dior, the fashion brand, did this bag, limited edition bag, in WeChat, only available there, sold out 48 hours. Cost $4,200. Incredibly powerful when you're in a trust relationship with consumer and brand. You have to think about that moving forward. But what about human values? What about people? Well, they want to achieve happiness. They want to spend time with their family and friends and be true to themselves. They also want to be financially stable. Now, these values are more closely aligned to their grandparents than their parents' generation. They're just misunderstood because they're feed-driven, they love news, but they represent a massive spend globally, $2.45 trillion by 2025, and at that point they represent 75% of the workforce. That's why everybody wants to talk about young adults and targeting them. They use 3 devices per day, and they love to be entertained. Why? Because they're bored. Now, I'm of a generation that when the sun came up, my parents would boot me outside, say, don't come in until the sun goes down. But today, kids are born, connected. So they're living their teenage lives on screens, the poor bastards. Bored, bored, bored. And what's fascinating to me is that if you think about it, creativity then has to be redefined. And it's been redefined in front of us because, as I said, you're not in the advertising business. Moving forward, you're in the content business. If you're in the content business, you don't just compete with other brands, you compete with everybody. You now compete with popular culture. And that's a challenge for you to think about moving forward. However, the world is overwhelming. You're hit with 1,900 media messages per day. 250 of those are advertising. The rest of it is mass media. And then it's underwhelming because you can't find what you're looking for. In fact, one of the largest contributors to stress is media overload. So 12 times a day, my leg will false vibrate. I suffer from the phantom phone vibration syndrome, which is akin to having a cocaine habit. So the things that you're producing on behalf of a brand to engage me is killing me. I'm stressed out. And so here's what's interesting. This is the only thing we need to care about. Attention. The attention economy, man. I don't care what else you measure time. You have 24 hours in the day, but how people assign their attention to you is the new gig. And it's all because of this. And you guys, I'm telling you, this is incredible, particularly in this country. We all suffer from tech neck. I see half a dozen of you right now doing exactly the same thing. Our tails may have fallen off 100,000 years ago, but in 10 years we've turned into human giraffes. And here, it's incredible, particularly here in Spain. 106%. That means a bunch of you still have two phones. You have your home phone and you have your work phone. I call that shit life. Just rubber band that two together, heads up. But anyway. Okay, so where are we headed then? What's hot? We have to think about how you're going to reflect back cultural change as marketing. That's it. That's the secret. Can you reflect back cultural change as marketing and become relevant that somebody's going to drag your brand with them into whatever hemisphere they're headed to? And that's the reality of doing that. So how are you going to do that? Understand that content matters, yes? But it's the context that matters. Build good content, put it in smart places. What's the best way to do that? Potentially video. Video is everywhere. We are freaking for it. The global population, we love video. And if you suck at video, too bad. Because all the platforms today are forcing you to be better at it. Forcing us. 360. VR. AR. They're forcing us into short, long, mid. It's all about sight, sound, and motion. And you can tell incredible stories, short or long. It doesn't matter. It depends on how long you can hold somebody's attention. Look at this, in 6 seconds. I mean, how good's that? So good. Okay, let's land this plane. The most abused word in our industry is storytelling. It's all I hear all day, every day. And it's very true. It's very important, but it's less about telling and it's more about the story. And if you're a transparent brand that understands what that means of selling to the heart, you end up with something as cool as this.
Why live life from dream
UK, you've seen that 1,000 times. That's the Christmas story told by John Lewis, one of the largest retailers on the planet. Now look at Christmas time, they're trying to move as much product as humanly possible off the shelves. But that experience, it was just 60 seconds, sold to the heart to justify it to the head. But if you remain a transparent brand that's open to the internet taking over, you could end up with something as ridiculous as this.
For good reason I can't play that in America, you realise that. But if you remain a transparent brand and true to the internet, you could even end up with something as crazy as this. So here's what I would say is true. It doesn't matter whether it's something highly polished, like that beautiful piece from John Lewis in Adam and Eve, or it's a spoof piece by joe.co.uk, or it's this user-generated piece that actually drives one thing that's incredibly important for that brand at the right time, and that's brand sentiment. And that's how many loves it has versus negatives, and that's a very important thing, and that's how you actually drive, I think, the new form of engagement. But it doesn't matter about intelligence, artificial or otherwise. It doesn't matter about blocking. It doesn't matter about bots. It doesn't matter about bitcoins. It doesn't matter about ecosystems or echo chambers, and it doesn't matter about any of that. Actually, it all matters. But the truth of the matter is, it's still about our human intelligence and selling to the gut to justify it to the head. And the reason I would say that, I started off by saying we're all scientists in this room and we're all creatives in this room. And I finish with this amazing quote by Katharine Hepburn, which still inspires me today. It's my all-time favourite quote, which is, if you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun. And isn't that the reason we became creatives in the first place? Thank you very much indeed for having me. Take care, brothers and sisters. Be well. Cheers.